Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. Welcome to New York. It's the United Nations General Assembly, and our guest today is the Foreign Minister of Iraq, Fuad Hussein. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
I want to begin with a role you've been embarking in, mediating between Iran and Saudi Arabia. There have been 5 rounds of talks in Baghdad. In late July, you said that there would be a meeting in Baghdad between the Saudi foreign minister and the Iranian foreign minister. It hasn't happened. What's the situation now?
Your information is correct. They had 5 rounds of meetings, and it was on the level of, let's say, intelligence service people, security. But we think it will be better now to change the level from the level of having discussion among the security and intelligence people to level of, let's say, foreign ministers or diplomats. But this is our desire, and we think that it will be better to have the meeting in public.
But is this going to happen? Because this would be a breakthrough.
Yes, of course. That's why I went to Tehran on 29th of August. And I had deep discussion with all officials, including President Raisi, the President of Iranian Republic. And now, actually, we had also a meeting today with the Iranian President and Iranian Foreign Minister, and we were discussing this matter. Still, we are discussing it, how we can arrange it. There are some issues between both sides. Still, it must be solved. We had now our discussion with the Iranian side, and I am planning to have my discussion with the Saudi side, and then we will see.
Right. What is your...
But this suggestion is still on the table.
It's still on the table. Right. Is it realistic that this meeting will happen in the next few weeks?
I don't know. I cannot say, because it depends on both sides.
Right.
But the discussion is we have this discussion with both sides.
Right. And from your interactions with the Iranians, they are still open to do this?
Both sides, they are open, but there are some issues that must be solved. Right. And we will see how we can solve these issues.
Right. Has Iraq also been involved in a rapprochement we've seen between Iran and the United Arab Emirates, also Kuwait? We've seen in recent weeks ambassadors being reappointed. Have you also played a go-between role?
Not directly, but United Arab Emirates and Kuwaitis, they have their own channels with the Iranian side, but we were and we are still engaged in establishing contacts between Iran and various other Arab countries.
Right. Speaking of Iran, there's still a cloud hanging over Iran's relationship with some of its neighbors and the West, is obviously the nuclear issue. A few weeks ago, people thought that a deal was very close, but now it seems a deal is off the table. How concerned are you about the possibility that without such a deal, this would create turmoil in the region?
I don't dare to say that the deal is off the table.
You think it's still?
I think still there is a chance. But coming back to your question, if there will not be a deal, that means that the alternative is increasing the tension between Tehran and Washington affects the whole area, of course. But in Iraq, sometimes it affects internal politics. So that's why we are trying also in our discussion with the Iranian side and the American side to discuss the issues that has been brought to the table.
Including the nuclear issue?
It has to do with the nuclear discussion, but the issues which has been brought to the table is far away from the agreement in Vienna. Mm-hmm. There is a kind of linkage between the agreement in Vienna and these kinds of issues. But they are not part of the agreement.
Do you fear that if there is no deal and Iran continues with its nuclear program, that there could be more than tensions with the US? There could be Israeli strikes, for instance?
I don't know, but if they will not reach a deal, I mean, Iran and United States and the other 5 countries, I think the tension will increase in the region. Because as a result of the tension between and the conflict between Washington and Tehran, that will affect the region. I said it. It will affect the region, but in Iraq it will affect the internal politics.
Which are already complicated enough, as we've seen in recent weeks.
That is true. That's right.
That's right. There are also some tensions between Iraq and Turkey. Turkey is often striking targets, PKK targets in northern Iraq. There was also a strike in Zakho that killed several civilians.
9 people.
9, exactly. You've lodged a formal complaint to the UN, but nothing happened. Turkey has never acknowledged that it carried out the strike. So it means Turkey can strike in Iraq without consequences.
You see, in principle, we want to have very, very good relations with our neighboring countries. That includes Turkey. And Turkey, of course, is a powerful country. We recognize them. And the interaction between the Iraqi society and Turkish society is there, and it goes back to the history. And the relationship on various levels, which has to do with the economy or security, with many other fields, is strong. So when we are talking about Turkish strike against Iraqi citizen, we are complaining and we are saying this is not possible. This is not good for our good relationship, in fact.
But they don't listen.
So we want
seems
to have better relation. And it is unfortunate that the Turkish military operation is continuing. And of course, they are talking about fighting the PKK. They consider PKK as a threat to their national security. But they are coming in and they are fighting the PKK inside Iraqi territory. And according to our constitution, in fact, we are not happy with the having the PKK in some areas in Iraqi Kurdistan. And because in the constitution, and we are committed to our constitution, it makes it clear that any organization, foreign or Iraqi, cannot use Iraqi soil to attack a neighboring country or to attack another country. So we are against the activities of PKK. This is clear for us. But that doesn't mean the Turkish side has the right to come in and to strike.
How can you stop them? Because you're complaining,
okay,
but
we are in our discussion with Turkish side, with Turkish officials, we were telling them, and at the end, when they killed 9 Iraqi citizens and 33 has been wounded, we didn't have a choice except to come to New York and to raise the issue here. And we wanted the Turks to recognize that and to apologize for our
but they haven't done it, Mr. Minister.
They didn't do it. Okay. But we hope that one day they will think about this, because at the end, being a good neighbor from our side, we want to be and still continue to be a good neighbor with Turkey. Then we need also from Turkish side some steps.
I want to get to the issue, obviously, of terrorism. Some people are fearing a Daesh comeback in Syria, but also in Iraq? What is your assessment? Because the West might be looking elsewhere, being concerned about the war in Ukraine, and maybe not paying as much attention as you would like.
I think you are right. The West and many other countries, not only Western countries, they are not paying any more attention to the activity of ISIS, Daesh. Although ISIS activity has been increased in other countries, such as African countries and in Afghanistan and various other countries. However, we must recognize that the so-called ISIS state has collapsed. But that doesn't mean the terrorist organization disappeared. In fact, the terrorist organization is still there. It is true that there are small pockets here and there they are attacking. And of course, we collected more experience about how to fight, and the terrorists, we have got also information, a lot of information about their activities. But the terrorists are still in Syria also, and especially Al-Hol camp. Al-Hol camp, it will stay a threat for the security in Syria, but also security inside Iraq. Because in Al-Hol camp, there are about 70,000 people, women, men, children, but almost all of them, they belong to ISIS. And because they stayed there for a long time, so it became a kind of ideological training camp there. Even those children who were 5, 6, 7 years old, now they are 15, 16, 20 years old. So they grow up in the camp and they got ideological training as ISIS. So they are very dangerous. The question is, now the camp has been controlled by Syrian Democratic Forces. If these forces would lose the control on the camp, what happens? What happens in Syria and what happens in Iraq? There are thousands of them also in prison in Syria. And once they tried to run away from prison, and if they would run away, that means there are many leaders of ISIS, and also foreigners, not only Iraqis and Syria, but there are few thousand of foreigner terrorists from Europe, from other countries. So the threat is there. But the main threat of ISIS has to do with the ideology. We fought ISIS with military means. ISIS has been collapsed military-wise. But the ideology of ISIS is still there in various societies. So how are we going to fight also the ideology? So the threat of terrorism is still there, either military threat or ideological threat.
Fuad Hussein, I want to thank you very much for appearing here on the France 24 interview from New York. Thank you for watching this edition. Stay tuned for more news.